What is up, everybody? Going to give it just a minute, let some people roll in, but I am so excited for this space today. It is time to get going, y'all. We got work to do.
I think our purple pill is broken, but hello, everybody. Can anybody else post in the purple pill right now?
I just did a test and it looked like it worked for me. You want to try it again?
Oh, well, Kristina is having one of those horrible technology days, but we're just going to bear right through it. If you can, that's wonderful.
I think Kristina's getting targeted. That's what I think. Please reshare the space. This is an important one, and probably one of the first of many where we're going to be doing some proper mobilization. Like, we're MAHA, we're big, we're strong. There's so many of us. We're not here to just rely on our elected officials to solve our problems for us. There is a lot that we can do, a lot that we need to do. And it only takes a few of us dedicating our every single day to this. Most people can take very small actions, and I promise it'll build up to big wins. Hey, Jen, welcome.
Hey, Damo, good to see you guys. Hey, Kristina. I put your the space post up in the nest, or American Mission just shared right over it. American Mission, get rid of that.
Sorry.
Rude. I shared this space up in the nest because you don't have a bubble, so people won't be able to like retweet the space really easily.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so American Mission, we can repost that link here in just a few minutes. I deleted that one.
Exactly
so
what I did. It was we did the exact same thing at the exact same time.
Nice. So if you go to the top of the screen, the link at the top is the link to this space. If you can share that out and get a bunch of people in here, that'd be super helpful to spread the word on this issue that I know we all care so deeply about.
Yeah, I'm really fired up about this one, guys. This is going to be a great space. We've had such a wonderful week getting to know everybody. And I mean, things have really come together so fast. You all are so amazing and so inspiring. And I'm so glad I have you through this, because this is just, these guys are moving fast with this initiative. So it just means the world to me to be surrounded in such good company.
Yeah, you know, and Kristina, you and I have actually a lot of experience with this issue. You, I mean, really more than me, but I've got a good amount of experience with the whole Monsanto thing, with GMOs, with healthy food chain, healthy food supply, ethical food and body care based businesses. It's all so near and dear to my heart. Just working to get Danielle up here from the Council on Domestic Relations, who's been a wonderful partner with us over the last few days, in trying to really sort this out and get it going. Let's see here. And Danielle, once you're up here, maybe you can let me know if Billy's going to make it. Hey, there's Billy right there. Speak of the devil. And this is the 1 week anniversary. We started doing these Midday Mahas a week ago. So I am super stoked and excited and proud and grateful for everyone who's been coming back day after day. I do think for now, unless we've got like immediate, like today we've got this really immediate action to talk about, we might start going to like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just so we don't get burnt out. And, you know, we don't want low energy spaces. We want to really have important things to talk about and some energy behind them. Danielle, hey, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. I'm here. I'm actually driving on the way home, but I'll be fully with you in a few minutes.
Cool.
Billy got on?
Yeah, so Billy's in here, just waiting for him to get up on stage. So basically what happened was Wednesday after the space, while Billy and I were preparing for the Club MAHA podcast, he shared with the Club MAHA team this issue that came across our desk that Monsanto has been pushing across the country in state legislatures, to pass bills granting them immunity from prosecution. And a lot of the people in here might be familiar with what happened in 1988 with vaccine manufacturers gaining federal level immunity from prosecution for consequences, negative health impacts from vaccines. This is not terribly dissimilar, except the tactic has been to go state to state. There are 31 bills, I think, at this point across the country trying to accomplish this for not just Monsanto, but all the major pesticide manufacturers. And the big fire alarm here is that the first bill just passed about 2 weeks ago in Georgia. And that bill now currently sits on Governor Kemp's desk. If I'm understanding this correctly, the legislative session ends at the end of this month. And from that day, Kemp has 40 days to sign this bill or veto it. And if he does nothing in 40 days, it automatically becomes law. That's kind of something that a lot of elected officials do to punt if they don't want to actually like own it. He'll just let that clock run out. I personally, and I'm not sure anyone else has much insight on this, on whether he is likely to sign it, and if so, how soon he is likely to sign it. But that's why every minute counts on this one, and we really need to rally a bunch of awareness and action. We need the governor and we need the legislature of Georgia to know this won't stand, not just because we need them to knock this bill down and back off from this kind of move, but also because if this bill goes into law, it becomes a lot more likely that other states pass it. And if we stop this bill from going into law, the opposite is kind of true, that we sort of blunt their momentum. And either way, no matter which way it goes on this one, we sort of start focusing on the next state and the next state and the next state. Jen?
Yeah, so I invited political savvy Tiffany Savage in. She just won local office. I can't remember what she won. Maybe Kim remembers. Vice chair in Georgia. So she would probably be able to answer a lot of questions. So let me see if I can get her in here.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Jen.
Yeah, let me just add real quick. The 31 bills, they're kind of a mixture of things. So it's not 31 bills that are all trying to push this pesticide immunity. Some of them are good bills that are trying to block it from ever being able to happen. Some of them are kind of middle of the road and need strengthened. And we're going to have to push calls to action to ask for amendments and things that we want to make them the right kind of bill. But I just want to throw that in there. It's not currently 31 states trying to do the exact same thing as Georgia. It's 31 states in general that have bills discussing the pesticide immunity. Some of them are awful, like Georgia. Some of them are good things. We're going to be trying to pump out the same kind of support to get them passed.
Yep. No, it's a great point. And obviously, like, the major focus is on states that look like they are passing or imminently passing the bad bills. But because these are state initiatives, it's good to know where legislation, good and bad, is happening everywhere, so that we can mobilize there. This is not just to mobilize for this issue, but as we mobilize for this issue, we strengthen our bonds as people who care about MAHA for every other issue that comes up, because then we're already connected, communicating, know where to go for information. And this is going to get even more important in 2026 with the midterm elections. So the more of this work we do now, the more connecting we do now, the more effective we get now, the more likely it is we end up with a good Congress next time around. Johnny?
Yes, I like that. You know, I'll push back and I'll say maybe that this is more important than 2026. You know, this glyphosate that we're talking about here, you know, this is being pushed by the likes of Bayer Monsanto, ChemChina. These are German companies. These are foreign entities that are coming after, you know, Americans' lives and liberties. You know, I like Trump to talk about, you know, America first. It's like these bills are totally contrary to this. You know, it's crazy, the timing. Just last week, $2 billion, $2.1 billion was handed out as a fine to Bayer concerning glyphosate, concerning these chemicals that they're trying to get these shields for. So this is in the same state. You know, you couldn't write something more poetic. And, you know, if Governor Kemp, you know, signs this into law, this is just a real betrayal of us people. You know, they're using their justification for all of this is we need to use this poison to grow our food or we'll have famines. which is just absolutely absurd. We've never had poisons like these until, this generation. Most of the whole world doesn't grow their food with poisons like this that we're using. And, a lot of people, Stephanie Seneff, a lot of people would say that this may be the main culprit for, just our health deficits to a degree that this is more important than everything else put together. This has been implicated in autism, everything, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancers, autoimmune diseases, celiacs, you name it. And we've got to stand up on this issue. So I appreciate you guys holding this.
Absolutely, man. I don't count that as pushback at all. I completely agree, and I'm glad you sort of put a double underscore on it. I just wanted to give a little of the bigger picture of what happens when people get together and organize, and they have a bigger picture themselves. Each individual issue that they successfully organize around strengthens their bonds, their communications networks, their sense of solidarity, their sense of power, and it all builds on itself. But absolutely, this is easily one of the most important issues in our country today. I don't want to get too much into open conversation yet, because I'd love to back up and give a richer primer on this issue and where we stand in Georgia and what calls to action we sort of have so far on this issue. And then I would love to open this up and just talk about it more generally. Kimberly and Ed, if you have something that's really dialed on that, great. And if not, if you don't mind just holding the hands, and we'd be happy to get to you. Thank you guys so much.
I did have a question
Sure.
in regards to this. So last night in our space, we were talking about the harms that have come, vax injured, and also people that have lost someone due to the hospital protocols. And one of the things that came up was, where are the laws that have already been created to protect us? And I'm wondering if this is a question that should be asked here as well. We need to look at what is already on the books, because we've spent a better part of, the life of this country developing and, arguing laws and legislation through our Congress. And I feel like we are, they're not being implemented, and that might be part of the issue.
Well, this is actually a really good question, and we'll get into this more, I think, and I'll give the floor to Danielle and Billy here in a moment from Council on Domestic Relations to talk more about the specific situation. But from my understanding, the specific bill in Georgia, it makes them immune to prosecution for not giving warnings above what the EPA requires, right? So your question about where are the laws to protect us, supposedly the EPA is supposed to protect us. But I think most of us here know that the EPA has been kind of gutted and stunted from implementing the kinds of regulations required to actually have our food systems and our air, water, and soil be clean and safe. And I think this is kind of a way of blunting the messaging in Georgia too. It's like, look, there's already regulations about what the company needs to disclose. We're just saying that if they don't say more, they can't get in trouble for it. And it's an interesting thing where we might need to, and we certainly do need to go to the federal level to get more stringent regulations to make sure that our food, our air, our water, and our soil are safe and clean. But in lieu of that, and even in parallel track to that, when this sort of stuff comes up in the state, we got to go to the state, With that, I want to give this over to Billy and Danielle to give us a bit more of a primer. We do also have a video that Kelly J shared with us. Obviously, you can't see the video, but it's just like a minute and a half. And it's a good, quick primer. Maybe we should start with that, and then let Billy and Danielle speak. Kelly, I think you're on the America Mission account as a speaker. Can you play that over your account?
Oh, I can get to it real quick. Hold on.
Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. We're still getting the production side down on making sure everything moves nice and smooth. But
okay.
Hey, this is grassroots, baby. This is what it looks like.
Damo, we have Adam Karabachi, who is also part of America Mission, who does all of our streaming in spaces, and he has a separate Cyber Patriot account. So I can ask him to start coming to these spaces, and any clips you need played or anything, he's got the setup all down.
Oh, that's
Cyber
beautiful.
Patriots in Twitter jail.
Oh no.
Okay, well, he'll just have to do it from his own account.
Well, that's fine. And you know, when they push back, when they fight back on us, it probably means we're doing something right. So no fault there. But
Ellie made it out of YouTube jail, so we're good.
Yeah, which I did
that's a
wanna
milestone.
mention.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I did want to mention that we are streaming to X Live, KUX TV, Rumble, Pill, Kick, and YouTube. And I put all the links in the purple pill, which you can't see, but if you go to a Damon's profile and you see the space, you'll see all the links under his post. So anyway, I can go ahead and play it, and then you can kind of give me a thumbs up if you can hear it okay. All right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Oh, no, you can't. Okay, I know that was too low. Okay. Let me adjust the volume. I know. Whoa. Whoops. Add the volume down. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1.
We have breaking news.
A little louder if you can.
Yeah. On the Georgia governor's desk. Georgia Senate Bill 144 will give pesticide producers like Bayer, BASF, ChemChina, and Corteva liability immunity from lawsuits associated with any adverse health effects or harms to crop or property from their chemicals. For example, herbicides like paraquat are produced by ChemChina for the United States, even though they are banned in China. As I've spoken about multiple times, UCLA research as well as 15 studies have linked paraquat to Parkinson's disease, yet the label doesn't disclose the risk. Another example is glyphosate produced by Bayer. In 2019, the EPA banned cancer risk warnings from being included on glyphosate labels. This was in response to California putting a Proposition 65 cancer and reproductive harm risk label on glyphosate. Since the EPA has been co-opted by the chemical industry and pesticide labels don't have accurate risk warnings, Senate Bill 144 will give companies like ChemChina and Bayer complete immunity from liability lawsuits. The partisan bill was introduced and sponsored by 20 senators in February and just passed the Georgia House with a 101 to 58 vote. Senate Bill 144 only needs Governor Brian Kemp's signature to be passed, which would be a significant loss for our health, farmers, and food systems. Pesticide producers like Bayer have recently been ordered to pay out settlements for chronic diseases caused by exposure to their pesticides. The pesticide manufacturer's goal to be free of any liability was made clear in the bill when it stated that every effort must be made to strengthen the United States production of pesticides. In addition to blocking lawsuits from future exposure, the bill would also block people who had exposure any time in the past.
Yeah, it cuts off in a weird place there, but that is totally the primer.
Farm workers, rural communities.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, there you go. And
yeah, it cuts off in a weird place anyway, but yeah. But so that's the quick and dirty. And then so Billy and Danielle have been doing some legwork on the background. I think they've communicated with the chief opposition in the state legislature, and so they've gotten some good intel.
Yeah. So sorry if you hear beeping. I'm actually checking out at the supermarket, but we don't know exactly yet how Kemp feels about it, which way he's leaning. There's no clear opinion yet that he even has actually made up his mind. So that's the good part, is that we think we really still have time to oppose this. But in terms of, so I did get some clarity just a couple minutes ago while you were talking, Damo. In terms of the 31 other bills, right now we actually do have 31 positive bills. So that's really good news. We're working to collate all of those and get all of the good and bad kind of on one sheet together so people can start filtering by state and getting to work on this. But what I'm hearing is 31 of the bills are positive to try to ban geoengineering, pesticide sort of things. So that's on one front right now. On the other front, we want to really use examples from Georgia and kind of make that the template going forward, because we know this kind of thing is going to spread through the country. And I love the video that you just played. I think if more people are willing to do that and put their face out there a little bit and start dropping it on Governor Kemp's Twitter feed, every post he makes or something, that would be amazing.
Yeah, Damo, for this week, we've been slammed with Florida and then this falling on our plate, plus some of the other work that we're doing behind the scenes. But I think Danielle and I want to take a moment to just kind of reslate as we talk about like what we're working on in Florida, that they just had their legislative day. I think there's like 15 or 20 bills that they're working on. And as we begin to work on Georgia and these other states, what we're going to have to do is kind of like the core group of people that we do get active at national and state level is try to come up with the angle when we lose. So none of us want to talk about that. Like, but if you look particularly at Georgia with what happened here, this is a good old Southern boy kind of territory where money talks. And if you look at the people who yayed this bill, it's most of them. It's most of the Democrats and Republicans yayed this bill. Why? Because they're getting money, and they're getting large amounts of money. So this is something we're just going to talk about and figure out how we can activate networks to do the things that can work that might not be what we've done in the past. I know like here we've talked about potentially getting to the governor's house and doing a permit and some other stuff. I know some people close to this are saying that might not be the way. The phone calls will be the way. I think we can still entertain all those ideas, but I think one of the key things here is, what do we do when the governor just sits by and does nothing and this becomes law in 40 some days, whenever that is? How do we, because I'm not sure that we have the answer to that. And it almost seems like it's a lost cause, but in reality, you know, this many Democrats and Republicans that are siding with the chemicals that are hurting us is a major issue. And I'm not sure any one of us has the right answer. I'm bringing that up because it is very possible he sits on this. And it's very possible that he doesn't sign anything or veto it. And it's very possible this like just crosses the finish line and everybody just stays quiet. All these Democrats and Republicans who voted yay, stay quiet. The governor stays quiet. And they do what happens to a lot of us, and you get iced out. Like you want to try to figure out something to do. You say the words, you do the things, and you get no response. Sometimes that no response is, you know, if you're on that side, that's what you do. You know, lawyers will tell you, say nothing, do nothing, sit there, don't look at anybody, just, you know, fewer words, the better. And that's what might happen. That's what might happen here. If that does happen, what do we do? Like, what kind of things can we do? And I'm not saying we spend a lot of time on that. I'm saying that in this regard, with this much money, following this kind of bill, it's almost too much to counterbalance. So what are the things that we do?
I hate it. I hate
you know
it,
what
really.
I mean? I know. It's a real.
I agree with you. That's a real possibility that we need to be prepared for. But it's like, throw that on the back half of this conversation, because the front half is what do we, right? Because like the front half is what do we do now, and part of that is how do we make the noise loud enough that they can't ignore it. Can we make the noise loud enough that they can't ignore it? It doesn't mean that they won't do it anyway, but that's a fight for tomorrow.
Well, hold on. I'll disagree with you on one major thing. Just like when we're producing a show, or, you know, if you're producing a show and you're spending $10,000 or $15,000 on that show, you know, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing a show that is, you know, plugged into your base. And so we're doing that show here. And so as we go to tomorrow and then the next 2 weeks, what we should be doing, or some level of doing, is to let everybody know what's coming if this is not vetoed. Like, so part of this is what happens on that day 41. So what these Democrats and Republicans should know is that we're coming for them, and they're going to be getting removed from their seats if this doesn't get vetoed. So in other words, what I'm saying is there is a way for us to continue doing everything that we're doing, while also making sure that some of these senators or congressmen know that if he doesn't veto this, we're coming from you, and you're leaving office. Now, whether that's true or not, or whether we can do that, I'm just using that as an idea starter, because I think what happened here is a lot of these, we're in a very interesting situation with this particular bill. One reason is because you've got a lot of Democrats and Senate or Republicans here that took the money. They took the money here. Make no mistake, they're taking money. They spend a lot of money to make sure that they vote a certain way, and they voted that certain way. So they got their money. They voted a certain way. What they can also do is place a call to the senator or to the governor saying, "Hey, you know, this might be a bill that you could veto."
Yep. I agree.
So there's, and I'm not sure what those are. I'm bringing it up because I think with this group of people, we could definitely get to the point where we have some real tangible action items on a weekly basis.
I really like what you're saying, Billy, because what you're saying immediately, yes, obviously we should all flood the governor's office with calls, whether we're in state or out of state, because if this goes through, it sets a precedent across the country. So it doesn't matter where you are, feel free to call the number above. But furthermore, we're not just going to let these senators get away with the fact that they just kind of thought nobody would notice and they would just kind of slide it in. But we should also be on this app tagging them and saying, hey, we know you voted yes for this. We do not approve. You need to call the governor and tell him to veto this, because if this goes through, we're coming down on you. And if you guys keep thinking that you can sneak things across like this and so fast and that we're not going to pay attention, like, we're here, we're paying attention, and we see who you are and what you did, and this is going on your record. Is that what we're getting at?
Sorry.
Yeah, I can't post anything here. I'm trying on my phone or my computer. Is the
purple pill not working for you?
It's not working.
Yeah, it's not working. So there's no way to post anything here?
Actually, as a speaker, if you posted it to your own account on your own feed and then clicked share while you're a speaker in this space, the top option should be to share it right into the nest.
So I basically have to share something to my profile, then come back in here and try.
Yeah, it's annoying, but you know, maybe it's worthwhile for this issue.
If it's already a post, you can share it straight to the nest.
Yeah, right. Basically.
Okay. For some reason, that's not working for me.
So just a little aside, I am hearing from advocates in Georgia that they think it's important to put a little thought into how social posts are approached. I know that a lot of people are aware that Bobby Kennedy sued Monsanto years ago and got a massive lawsuit out of them for a cancer patient. And some people, I think, are sharing that around the internet, and like that might be good for certain posts. I wouldn't include it if I was specifically tagging the governor or someone similar, someone in the legislature in a post. I would leave the Kennedy factor out of it. We really want this to look like it's grassroots. It's people who've known glyphosate as a problem for a long time. It's not this new MAHA moms thing. It's not because Bobby Kennedy just said so. It's not coming from him. It's coming from you and your household. You don't want these things in your food supply. Your kids have allergies. You have an autoimmune disease. Your mom has cancer, whatever it is. Start speaking up from the heart, from the personal space of how this is going to hurt you at home, hurt your family, hurt your pocketbook. That's what these legislators need to hear, because they know that that translates into this person is not going to vote for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Kim, you've had your hand up for a while. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, like tying it to some of the more current issues. I just saw something earlier today talking about how we have a major or a mass death rate of bees again. Like, I think that we lost a substantial amount again. I don't know how much of that is propaganda or not propaganda, because I haven't really dug into it.
Make it all stop. This is awful. We were just doing good with the bees. Now the bees are tanking. And
yeah, exactly. That's a direct result of Monsanto, right? So, I mean, not only are they harming us, you know, directly with this chemical, but they are also putting our food supply in jeopardy once again.
You're absolutely right. And as far as the hands goes, I think it was Jennifer, then America, then Ed.
Was I first? Okay, cool. So what I was gonna say, this is actually like a uniting issue for MAGA and MAHA.
Yes.
Because of the fact, Governor Kemp is definitely no friend of ours. He is a liar. And I could say a lot more, but I will refrain. All we need to know is that he is no friend of ours. Freaking scumbag. We know what you did. But so they would be willing to come out for that. But also Monsanto is a bad word to us as well. Like there is a wealth of knowledge around Monsanto. So I think raising the Kemp issue and using the words Monsanto will help draw the MAGA crowd in on this issue.
I think you're totally right. And for me and my sensibilities, this is also a fantastic coalition builder with the left. My initial experience fighting against Monsanto was with Dr. Bronner's, and they are a fantastic company that makes some of the finest plant-based ethical products you can possibly find in the United States, but they're about as left as you can get. And my first experience was meeting them at a march against Monsanto. And then I did a cross-country GMO labeling awareness tour with them that ended up with me having a job with them being a brand ambassador. They're wonderful, even if we might not agree with them on every issue. There might be a bunch where we are literally on the opposite sides of a battlefield. But on this one, we are united. We are absolutely brothers and sisters. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to really come together on the things we do share, which to me has always been what MAHA is all about. America?
Yeah, I lost it. Sorry, my phone went blank, and I'm like, I gotta get back. I'm all nervous. I just wanted to let you know, Stiginer, I'm in the process of creating a public Google folder for you guys, and I've uploaded that one video that you just, showed the other time, that just a bit ago, and a couple of these flyers I see popping up. So that will be a easy way for people to access that are not on X as well, especially for the video, to get information about what this all is all about. Excuse me. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
You guys are amazing. The way you're all coming together, we're pooling resources, we're using our different channels. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the beauty of like having America Mission like rocking and rolling on all cylinders. And we have established like the people in Georgia that we can reach out to who have larger grassroots networks on the ground, and can really help amplify this message. So if there is a list, I know that Billy and Danielle were talking about other places that need this awareness as well. So if we can see that list, we might be able to already have like established groups in those places.
Fantastic.
Yes, we are working on that. It's we're only less than a month old as an organization that came out of months of like just talking about what needs to be done and then solidifying. So I think just in this last 3 weeks, we started realizing how much actual grassroots work there is to do. So yeah, our whole next week is trying to put together the timeline and calendar and action items. And even if you look at each state, the problem that we're starting to see is there's probably 3 to 30 bills per state, and there's 50 states. So right off the bat, you're like, okay, like even if you just prioritize just the top 3, there's a lot of data just to pull together to organize that and then upkeeping that. So I think our first pass is going to be really superficial, just some basic understanding of what's going on in each state.
I love that you brought that up, because something we had happen in Florida with the solar initiatives is that there would be 2 different bills put forth, and I had to write it down on my hand which one was the good one and that which one Duke Energy had crafted to trick us away from the good one. And so confusion is absolutely a strategy. We have to be on our toes, work together. Okay, wait, what was the good one? Okay, there it is. And, keep notes. I mean, because that confusion can divert us and dilute us and make us less effective. I love that right now we have this focal point of calling the governor Some people are calling this a cancer gag act. It looks like there's over 60,000 court cases in the works against these companies. And so there's so many families' lives on the line, and these are just the existing court cases. That doesn't even touch the people to come that might have lost a child because of this. That, you know, there's one story of a farmer that had twins, and his daughters were coming sick. And I mean, once you start digging it, it's so heartbreaking. This is such a pressing issue. And like someone else said as well, that this is a foreign entity now. This is a foreign company that is trying to dodge liability from harming our families, our children. And it's big time, guys. We have some new speakers on the stage today. Ed, I'm so grateful you're here. If you'd like to go ahead. And then the Queen after that, Rocket Man. It would be great. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me up and having this space. I think it's I come from the agricultural community for decades, and I think it's very important when we mention Monsanto that we do Monsanto/Bayer, because first we have to understand, why did Bayer buy Monsanto in 2018? It was because Monsanto was, of course, facing all these lawsuits, and it just happens that Bayer has the corner on the market of the drug that treats non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is one of the early cases against Monsanto and glyphosate was over that. So, and Monsanto, although rather a large company, I know somebody from Bayer, and Bayer has 100,000 employees. They're a global company. Everybody knows out of Germany. That's incredible power compared to even Bayer. And it was, of course, it was during Trump's first term that Monsanto was bought by Bayer, was when Syngenta, which was a company out of Switzerland, rather small, was then combined with ChemChina, when Dow and DuPont merged together and became Corteva. And that's when the real intense power hit in the chem, GMO, that big ag input chemical company all happened. But one of the things that the politicians, I come from regenerative agriculture, and I work with a lot of farmers at scale. And one of the things that these politicians don't know, because they're all just lobbied by these big corporations, is we have alternatives now. They get lobbied and said, well, if you don't use all these chemicals and all these GMOs, everybody's going to starve. And that's not the case. Regenerative agriculture is becoming incredibly popular at scale. We have many farmers that now are running thousands of acres, multi-crops. We're across just about every type of crop. And many of them have been able to, by understanding the new science that we have in understanding how soils work and plants work and all this, that they've pretty much eliminated, some completely, any need for pesticides, herbicides, synthetic fertilizers. And if not, have been able to drastically reduce them. And certainly with the timing too, because that can become crucial. And so that's one of the big issues. And of course, they're hitting, with this immunity thing, they're hitting the biggest ag states with the most corporate ag power. So, it's obvious they're going to work on those states where they have the most impact. But even in those states now, we're getting incredible transition to regenerative practices that are going to actually save our family farms. And because they're all getting hit by all these input costs. And then we pay for all the externalities, all the pollutions in the dead zone in the Gulf and our water contamination and our floods and droughts are all related to these chemicals. And so, that's the thing that we need to get out to people, and we need to support regenerative farmers, especially at scale, to get the information out about what they're doing and how they've been able to use new science that looks at microbiology and looks at how nature actually functions, which is going to be actually the savior for our food system. I was on a podcast with a big guy that promotes biotech and ag about a week and a half ago, and I was talking about nutrient density. We've lost all the flavor and all the nutrients in our food, and it was farmers that had to work with scientists to get this research done. Yet this person, who's a big mouthpiece for chem and biotech ag, said, no. I came on early and talked about it, and how 90% of what we have access to is now within about the 10th to 20th percentile of its potential because of the way we industrialized our food production. And he couldn't come in right away because he actually had a power outage from the storm. He came on later and he goes, oh no, all the research, that I'm aware of shows that there's really no difference in nutrient density in our food. And that's the problem, those industry people. Since that, I've sent him a video from a person who used to work in fungicide research and pesticides. He became a regenerative agriculture farmer raising citrus. He got his first crop this last year. He had it tested, and on average, he had 8 times more nutrient density of the elements you expect in citrus than he used a neighbor that was doing it all the ways ChemAg does it, exact same variety, exact same conditions in the environment otherwise, and 8 times different. And in many things, many times more than that. So that's the thing. I think if we accentuate the positive there is a way out, because otherwise they're going to keep hearing, well, everybody's going to starve. That's what they keep telling us if we don't go this way. So I'll land it there.
Ed, thank you so much, man. That was awesome. I'm so glad you're able to join us and give us insight from like inside agriculture. Of course, you're absolutely right. I personally believe that regenerative agriculture is the future and that it's inevitable, and it's in part inevitable because of the work we do together today. I do want to take a second to remind people that, okay, so at the top of the space, the link that Kristina has posted has the phone number to Governor Kemp's office. We should be flooding his office with phone calls. It's not a big deal. It only takes a minute. There's no script. Just let them know you don't want the Monsanto immunity bill signed, and whatever editorial you want to add to that. You're worried about your families. You're worried about healthy food. You're worried about foreign companies having undue influence over the agriculture in our country. It really only takes a minute, and it's such an important act. The more calls they get, the more attention this gets. Also, follow all the speakers on the stage. Everyone up here is a fantastic movement shaker, someone who's dedicating their time and their care to these issues that we all care about so much. And the more we follow each other, the more we stay in the loop, the more connected we are, and the better able we are to make a really big difference. Let's go to the questionable gardener.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, buddy.
One thing to keep in mind with Monsanto, I'm sure you've already kind of come across this a little bit. I was a little bit late joining, but Monsanto is a subdivision of Bayer, and Bayer is the world's largest seed company. So as you go down this, don't be surprised to see some of this shell game stuff where their lawyers are the same lawyers that R.J. Reynolds had in the tobacco settlement. So anytime they start putting forth something, keep in mind that they may expect to lose this case, and they will put all the junk that they're trying to get rid of into that case. They'll settle be able to remove all that, and then continue with business as usual. That's what RJ did with the nicotine stuff. It's what they did with some of the additives in their cigarettes. And I say that in that Bayer has already changed its GMO label to a new label. It was created by Obama, and it's called Climate Smart Seeds. They are not listed as GMO. They do not have to be listed as GMO on products. It's mostly feed. There are 35 countries that are refusing to use the seed and buy it. So there was a massive grant created under Biden to help promote those seeds and get them spun out. It was, pull this up real quick. The grant was for $3.1 billion to push those seeds out into other countries. I don't know if I can put it in the Jumbotron for you or not. Let me try it real quick, see if I can. Yes, I can actually. So I just put that up top. And so that's why I say be on the lookout that they might be doing a little bit of shell game stuff there, because they have pushed really, really hard to relabel that as climate smart initiatives. And it's not all bad. Don't get me wrong. Some of it's good. Some of it is just breeding. It's not all actual modification. I do some plant breeding myself, and the gentleman who was talking earlier, farmers see this all the time, where they will try to develop a more drought resistant or more productive. I mean, look at corn. Everything in corn has been done through selective breeding or modification, but the vast majority of that is just a way to relabel the GMO stuff. So keep that kind of in the back of your mind as you're going through these, that there may be a little bait and switch going on there, especially if you don't see them fight it too hard.
Yep, that doesn't surprise me. It's kind of like how they're trying to rename high fructose corn syrup and some of these other ingredients, so that when you read the label and you're used to looking for a certain term, you don't see it, so you think it's not there. Same shit. Whew.
This is so heavy because I mean, really think about it. We know the tricks that Monsanto played in the past before they were bought out by Bayer, where they would have their seed in one farmer's field and it would blow downwind, and they set a legal precedent that they were going to sue the poor fourth generational farmer next door because their crop polluted, so they've been playing these patent games and trying to own seed and then change it. And then, like literally you drive around the countryside here in upstate New York and you drive by the fields and they have almost a serial number. They'll have a sign and like a serial number as to, which form of genetic modification this was. And it's so interesting because back in the day when March Against Monsanto was really strong, one of the catchphrases there was label it. Just label it. We just want it labeled. Okay, fine. You say it's safe and it's similar. We just want you to label it. And so it's so ironic now that we've lost our steam with the label it campaign, and that they're coming around and they're just trying to switch up all the labels on us and just pull the wool right over our eyes. And I really, if I were them, I would see how distracted and polarized we are right now. And I would think it's an epic time to strike. So in response to that, it's even more important to network with your friends, go over to Facebook, go to your other channels and just rile them back up and remind them that we have to work together to protect our food. This is a nonpartisan issue. We have to stand together to protect our food supply, and to have a large international, a foreign country now own American seed. I mean, to me, that is a matter of national security. This is unacceptable, and we just have to keep pushing, guys. We have to keep fighting against this. This is scary.
Yep. And a lot of this involves a lot of like talk. We've got to communicate with each other. We need to keep educating each other. And then ultimately it also comes down to like, what's the tip of the spear at any given time on any given issue? So right now it's like, flood that phone line, Governor Kemp's phone line. Make those phone calls. They only take a minute. Get other people to make those phone calls. It only takes a minute. I find that with some folks, maybe even a lot of folks, it helps to not sound doom and gloom. Regenerative agriculture is inevitable, but we have an opportunity here to take small actions that make a big difference and feel good about it. The wins feel really good and empower us for the next ones. Also, Governor Kemp's Twitter account, it looks like it's at GovKemp, GOVKEMP. Follow him, turn the notifications on, respond to his posts, tag him in posts. Like I think it was Danielle might have been saying, maybe downplay Bobby, downplay Maha, speak from your own personal perspective about yourself, your family, your communities. The concern about foreign companies having too much influence and too much economic impact on our agriculture. But he needs to know, he needs to hear from us over and over again and soon. And it really empowers. And it also, because of the way social media works, it can trend, it can go viral, it can get picked up by larger influencers. Ultimately, Bobby and the EPA have an opportunity here to set a federal level standard that preempts all this state level stuff. But they're busy. They got a lot of shit going on. So as we're fighting these state level battles and making all this noise, it can lead to them going, oh, let's take a minute and handle that. Let's go back to Ed.
Yeah, one of the groups in Washington at USDA that is key to bring the spotlight on is AIM for C, Agricultural Innovation Mission for Climate. That was a Bill Gates initiative about maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Started it, and it's the biggest alliance structure of big ag and big food I've ever seen in the world. And it's part of USDA. When everybody says, why did Bill Gates buy all that farmland in the United States? That was one of the reasons he did that just before he pushed this initiative, because as one of the largest landholders of farmland, that plus his money and his other influences gave him some say in USDA. So he put this alliance together. Last I knew, I don't know, they're well over 10 billion, $14 billion. It's a alliance also with the United Arab Emirates. They put a bunch of money into this. And as I say, it's a lot of, and they have what they call innovation sprints, and you have to be a member of this group. Now, here it is. It's a USDA, project, basically. And yet you got to become a member, and it's very expensive. So small groups or farmers aren't going to be able to be members. A year ago, or it was either last spring or a year before, they had one of their big annual conferences, and I tried to attend it online, and you had to be a member. And I'm like, but this is a government conference, and how can you have to be a member to do this? So I checked and I said, are you at least going to post the sessions online, at some point? And they said only if, segments of a couple of the keynotes. So it was all really quite secretive. And yet it's amazingly powerful. I mean,
We have breaking news that a law giving liability immunity to pesticide producers is on the Georgia governor's desk. Georgia Senate Bill 144 will give pesticide producers like BASF Corteva liability. We have breaking news that a law giving liability immunity to pesticide producers. We have breaking news that a law giving liability immunity to pesticide producers is on the Georgia governor's desk. Georgia Senate Bill 144 will give pesticide producers like Bayer, BASF, ChemChina, and Corteva liability immunity from lawsuits associated with any adverse health effects or harms to crop or property from their chemicals. For example, herbicides like paraquat are produced by ChemChina for the United States, even though they are banned in China. As I've spoken about multiple times, UCLA research as well as 15 studies have linked paraquat to Parkinson's disease, yet the label doesn't disclose the risk. Another example is glyphosate produced by Bayer. In 2019, the EPA banned cancer risk warnings from being included on glyphosate labels. This was in response to California putting a Proposition 65 cancer and reproductive harm risk label on glyphosate. Since the EPA has been co-opted by the chemical industry and pesticide labels don't have accurate risk warnings, Senate Bill 144 will give companies like ChemChina and Bayer complete immunity from liability lawsuits. The partisan bill was introduced and sponsored by 20 senators in February and just passed the Georgia House with a 101 to 58 vote. Senate Bill 144 only needs Governor Brian Kemp's signature to be passed, which would be a significant loss for our health, farmers, and food systems. Pesticide producers like Bayer have recently been ordered to pay out settlements for chronic diseases caused by exposure to their pesticides. The pesticide manufacturer's goal to be free of any liability was made clear in the bill when it stated that every effort must be made to strengthen the United States production of pesticides. In addition to blocking lawsuits from future exposure, the bill would also block people who had exposure any time in the past. The chemical companies have been calling voters to push support for the bill by claiming that it would help farmers. What the bill actually does is strip the few rights that exist from farm workers, rural communities, schools,
getting people riled up to veto. They had over 70,000 people call already. So we're just looking to keep building that momentum. That sounds like a lot. It is a lot. That's a good thing. That's surprising, but it's encouraging because it lets us know just how not alone we are.
Yep, I'm going to put that in the nest right now.
X is working again, so I'm actually back to streaming to space. I'm back in. You can see me down there, Kelly J.
Hey, Kelly J. All right.
And that was Danielle last year speaking from the Council on Domestic Relations. I'm Billy Zier from the Council on Domestic Relations, and I'm trying to follow everybody here. If you guys can look at all the listeners, you'll see we're also there under Council. Follow us, and we'll also follow you guys as well under that as well.
Yep, the white PFP with the eagle or the falcon or the very powerful looking bird. And by the way, Billy, I did invite that account up to be on the speakers panel. Anytime you guys are in here with that account, I will bring it up on the speakers panel and encourage people to follow it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I logged on my computer and had to walk away. So
yeah, no worries.
Multitasking.
No worries. Yep. Do we want to keep going? I think we've covered a lot of ground. It's very exciting.
Demo, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta jump too.
Yeah, no, this is a good clean place to load out here. We'll keep updating on this. We'll keep driving calls to action. This will by far not be the only issue. In fact, I feel like part of the incredible challenge we have ahead of us is how many things are happening all at once and how to prioritize them. If there's enough of them going on, then we might do more than 3 spaces a week, because it's just when it's important, when we really have something to talk about, I want to make sure we're here to do that. But we'll keep updating on this. We'll keep posting on this. I hope you guys are paying attention. I hope you're sharing. I hope you're calling. I hope you're commenting and posting. This is a big one.
And this is a big one that needs action right this second. And then when the next state passes a terrible bill, it's going to happen again. And when the next state passes a good bill, we need to support that too. So I want to thank you guys. Please follow all the speakers on this stage. Follow Club MAHA. If you want to support my work, you can shoot me a tip by clicking on my profile and clicking that tip button at the top. You can also support Club MAHA at patreon.com/Club MAHA. We do an awesome podcast that we live stream to the Club MAHA account every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And this movement, man, this movement, it's so fun. It's so strong. It's really just getting started. So thank you for being here with us, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Thanks, everybody.